Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Patrick here. So in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you my top lessons from doing YouTube for over 2 years now. So within 2 years, we got to over 60,000 subscribers in the B2B sales niche, which is extremely difficult to do. And I also started a new channel, if you guys didn't know, called The Parallax, where I talk about NFTs and things like that. That channel has been growing a lot faster. And so I'm gonna share some of the learning lessons that I've had. And if you aspire to be a YouTuber or if you wanna create content one day, I'm pretty confident you'll get a lot of valuable lessons from this video. This video is gonna be a little bit different from my other sales videos. We're trying to experiment and expand and talk more generally about business and YouTube and other things that I'm working on. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments because I'll be happy to make more videos like this. So diving right into it, probably the biggest lesson that I've learned when it comes to doing YouTube or even business in general, one of the most important things you have to do in the beginning is pick your niche. Picking a specific market that you want to create content in is going to be pretty much the determining factor of how many subscribers you can get, how fast you can grow, how many views you get, and even how much money you can make. Meaning that if you're picking a small niche where it's very obscure and not many people are watching it, let's say I'm just throwing something out there like kayaking, right? Maybe there are people watching it here and there, but not many views. So even if you made, let's say, 1,000 videos on kayaking, and maybe you are the #1 kayaker YouTuber in the world, if the market's not big enough, then you're not gonna get the views, right? And so I definitely learned this when I started creating content in the sales category. So, in sales in general, there are thousands of people watching sales content every single day. However, it's just not gonna be as big as, let's say, marketing or finance, entrepreneurship, or stock trading and things like that, right? Especially like personal finance and minimalism. This is why you see so many videos about that, or even like Apple reviews, right? Like doing a review of an iPhone or a MacBook. Those are extremely popular. So it's much more easier to get views in those categories compared to doing B2B sales. Now, at the time when I started YouTube, I was already like in sales, I was teaching sales. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do sales because that's the thing that I know. It worked out in the end, but if you think about it, I've been doing YouTube for 2 years now, and we only got, or I shouldn't say only got, but we got 60,000 subscribers, which is a great milestone. But had I, let's say, started doing finance right off the bat, then I would have had maybe hundreds of thousands of subscribers doing the same amount of work. Like what market you go after is going to be extremely important. To hammer this in, I really learned this lesson because I started a new YouTube channel called The Parallax. It only took me a month and a half to get to almost 3,000 subscribers, and we're getting like 50,000 views a month. From doing sales, I literally did my sales YouTube channel for 1 year before I got monetized. And it's the same amount of work, same quality content. The only difference is that the niche is going to be different, and there's gonna be a lot less people watching sales video compared to The Parallax. People wanna learn how to do like crypto stuff and buy NFTs and things like that. Picking your niche is very important. Of course, like in the sales, there's always ways to make money, like, selling courses and consulting and brand sponsorships and things like that. So it's not like you don't make any money. The amount of views you're gonna get is gonna be so different just depending on what industry you go after. The second important lesson that I learned over time is that it's really advantageous to be a first mover in any niche that you go into, right? So if you look at, let's say, content creators like Graham Stephan, Nate O'Brien, right? So they started their finance channels really early, a few years ago, when finance wasn't really that cool of a subject to do on YouTube. But what they were able to figure out how to do is make it more interesting and appealing to like millennials and younger people who want to invest in their retirement plan and things like that. And they made it much more mainstream, and then this whole thing just took off. Just like in productivity, like Matt D'Avila, he did productivity many years ago, did a lot of different filming stuff, and then productivity was the thing. Productivity and minimalism started to have an uptrend, and he definitely rode that wave. I'm not saying that he's a bad creator. I think he's great at what he does, but by riding these winds or riding these tailwinds, it's gonna get you a lot further. For example, my NFT channel, The Parallax, it's riding this trend of NFTs. NFTs are extremely hot. Tens of millions of people are looking up NFTs every single day or every single month, trying to learn about it. And by just me positioning myself by creating high quality content and serving that audience, it's just so much easier for me to get views. Whereas we compare it to sales is a lot challenging because it's a subject that doesn't really like trend, and there's only a certain amount of people that look it up every month. And so that's kind of your market, and it's difficult to expand when you're not catching a tailwind. But anyways, that's beside the point. The point is, like, when you're first to move on a trend, it's a lot easier to grow. Once everybody starts noticing that trend and starts, copying the content and everyone's creating the same thing, it's a lot more difficult to get views, right? So like if you're doing tech reviews, for example, you gotta compete against MKBHD, which is like, he's going so hard on his, tech review videos. Everyone kind of has the same information. They were reviewing the same products, but they're gonna watch MKBHD just because the quality of his shots are just so interesting and crazy, and the storytelling is good. He kind of creates his own wave, right? He's not even competing against you. He's not even looking at what you're doing. He's just doing something that is kind of impossible for the average small creator to do. By being in early, you don't have to have that much competition, but if you come in a little late, your stuff has to be so much better in order to compete. That actually leads us to the next tip I have for you guys. That's striving to be the best. I remember I watched a video with Ramit Sethi, and he said something like, there's there's always room for the best. And that really resonated with me because a lot of times maybe you're late to a trend, or you think it's like, oh my God, like it's too late to start and things like that. There's already so much competition. Okay, true. It's gonna be harder for you to grow, absolutely. However, there's always room for the best. If you're creating content that's just significantly better than everybody else, it doesn't really matter if you're starting that late because there's just no way the YouTube algorithm's not gonna promote you. Like if you got amazing thumbnails, amazing titles, and the video itself is amazing and people watch all the way through, they're gonna start promoting you even though you were late to the game. And not only that, like when you strive to be the best, what ends up happening is that the best ends up on top, the best ends up making the most money. When you make the most money, you have access to the best talent, meaning you can hire whoever you want because money is not an issue. More people know who you are, so it's more prestigious to work at your company. And if you have better employees or better team members that are on your team, you're gonna produce the best content. And so it's like this cycle that just keeps getting better and better and better. And so when you compare that to the average solo creator and they're not making any money, it's gonna be so difficult. They have to put so much energy and creativity just to compete with you, and they're not even getting close, right? That's why everything I do, I really do strive to become the best. And that's something I communicate with my team. It's something that I remind myself every day. And when we put out content, I'm really asking myself, how does it stand with the rest of the competition? Are we doing things to just separate ourselves from the competition so far? We're not even looking at what they're doing. We're just innovating and we just see them copying us, you know, a week or a month later. And that's always the position I want to be as an innovator, not necessarily as a copycat that just follows the trends. I want to set them. So the next step that I have for you guys, hiring is probably the most important skill you're going to need when it comes to running a successful business, especially when it comes to a YouTube channel. Well, it's not always the most important, right? If you're a solo creator and you want to do everything by yourself, meaning you want to write the thing, you want to be on the camera, you want to edit the video, you want to do the marketing, do the thumbnail, and all those things, sure, you can do it by yourself, but you're only going to get so far because you only have so many hours in a day, right? So when I started out and I didn't have much money to pay anybody, or I didn't have any money, I just had to do everything myself because I don't have money to pay people, right? But as soon as you start making money, the thing I wish I had done earlier was hire quality people in the beginning, because that would have saved me so much time. When you are a solo creator, I had this mentality of like, why would I hire someone when I could do it myself? Oh, I can do it better than them. Why do I need to hire them? If you have that cycle, you're gonna end up doing everything by yourself. But what I've learned to do over the years is say, hey, I should be the worst person at my company. Meaning everybody who has their specific job that they do, they should do it way better than me, because if they can do it better than me, why would I need to do it, right? And so that's the mindset I kind of have. I'm not trying to be the best at my company. I'm trying to be the worst at my company and train everybody up so that they're significantly better than me at everything. It helps me a lot, right? It helps me when it comes to like getting the work done. Also, it helps with like the strategy of like how things should look. So for example, right, you see this setup right here, right? We have a mic, we have a light, we have the background and the color grade and all those things. You know, I'm not really involved in the day-to-day when it comes to putting this all together. Now I do have an input on like what I think looks cool, yes, but it's not like I'm changing the settings on the camera or changing the lighting or making sure there's lighting in the back. You know, I'm not doing that anymore because there are people who are better than me at doing it and I shouldn't be doing it, right? Same with like creating thumbnails and titles. You know, I haven't made a thumbnail in quite a long time, to be honest, and that's okay because I still have input on what I think is cool, but there should be other people who are better than me at doing those specific jobs. And I guess, you know, when you're a creator, I kind of look at it like what MKBHD does, where he has like 20 people working for him. You know, his job is really just content strategy, meaning what type of content should the team create, and being the person in front of the camera. And so he built a team around him where they take care of all the other stuff of like putting a set together, doing the marketing, doing the SEO, and whatever it takes to do a YouTube video, where he can just focus on high level vision and be the personality on camera. And maybe one day, you know, I'll create YouTube channels where I'm not the person who's always on camera. And maybe there are other people who are more suited to doing that compared to me. You know, that's not really the case right now, but that could potentially be a future, right? If you're a creator or you want to be a creator, try to hire as soon as you can afford it, because it's gonna save you so much time and it's very difficult. So you're gonna have to be constantly looking for talent constantly. You know, it's a never ending job because you're always trying to grow. And the people that are not a fit with your company, let's say you hired somebody, but you realize, maybe they're not that good and maybe I should find someone else. Learning how to let those people go respectfully is very important as well, because you're only strong as your weakest link. That's just how the game goes, right? And I kind of think of business like a sports team. I used to think of it like a family, but I realized it's not a family, because when you're dealing with family, it's like, let's say you have a brother or a sister, you're always going to take care of them just because you are family, right? A business is a little different in my opinion, where it's more of a sports team, like the Lakers or the Miami Heat, right? Like if somebody is not able to shoot their free throws and they're not good at shooting, we can't have them on the team because they're not doing the job that they were paid to do. And so hire the best people, let go of the people that aren't the best fit, and that's just the natural progression of every company, really. And so those are gonna be my top lessons when it comes to doing YouTube for over the past 2 years. If you enjoyed this video, again, you know, let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos like this, or if you want me to document or talk about more about like what I do behind the scenes, not just sales videos. And with that said, my name's Patrick, and I'll see you guys in the next one.